Hello and welcome to Finding Your Holy Grail, a show produced through Passionate World Talk Radio, whose goal is to educate, enlighten, and entertain. We would like to thank station manager Jeannie White and CEO Lillian Caldwell. I am your host, Dr. Mandy Simon, and I'm in the studio with my co-creator, Dr. Gordon MacMillan.
Hello, and thank you for tuning into our show. Finding Your Holy Grail is all about building skills to live fearlessly in the post-pandemic world. Mandy and I are so excited that we've reached the 5th show in a series of 5 shows to kick off the new year. For those of you who have been listening, we're covering subjects to help you set goals you can actually achieve. So far, we have looked at the role of fear, resilience, belief systems, and blind spots in achieving our goals. This week, we are covering a really amazing technique called muscle testing, or applied kinesiology.
Throughout January, we have been exploring the power of our subconscious minds, and muscle testing continues this theme because it proves a practical technique to understand what our subconscious mind thinks. Our subconsciousness is so important because it actually determines the outcomes of the choices we make in life, no matter how hard we might try otherwise. Things don't happen unless our subconscious minds want them to. And this is why it's central to deal with our subconscious thoughts when it comes to setting goals we can actually achieve. In fact, if we look back over the themes that we've been exploring this month, I've shared many examples from my own professional and personal experiences of how people's subconscious minds have prevented them from realizing their goals, and include in this the concept of fear, resilience, belief systems, blind spots, and the roles that they play.
That's right. Perhaps our listeners can recall in episode 13 how impossible it was for a person to give up chocolate cake when their subconscious mind associated eating chocolate with the positive emotions of love, joy, and safety. We were exploring the influence of fear, and in this instance, no matter how hard they tried, it was highly unlikely the person would be able to sustain giving up chocolate. And in episode 15, we considered how some people hold the subconscious belief that the pandemic is punishing some aspect of wrongdoing, either by the individual themselves or by society as a whole. This was explained from a deeply rooted belief system that punishment was not allowing the individual to feel in control of the situation. And in last week's show, episode 16, we spoke about people whose subconscious mind was so powerful that it led them into states of complete delusion by creating blind spots. Do you remember that guy whose car got towed away because his subconscious mind refused to see the fire hydrant when he was parking his car?
The important point to recognize is that in all cases, the individual concerned has been unable to achieve their goals because their thinking, quote, rational mind has not been aligned with their, quote, feeling subconsciousness. This is not your fault. All of our patterns of life are wrapped up in what we are trying to recreate in our lives daily through our subconscious mind. The issue is that our subconscious mind is often trying to recreate patterns that are unhealthy and keep us stuck. The key question then is, how do we uncover our subconsciousness to reveal the true agendas that are really shaping our lives? The subconscious mind is like a hard drive recording everything that has happened in our lives, even if we don't recall it today, which means our subconscious mind knows exactly what is going on with us. Our body holds the key. We just have to figure out how to follow the breadcrumbs. And this is because all the clues are in our body's reaction. But most of us have no idea how to read our body's reaction. So, whether you believe your body holds the key to your subconscious mind or not will be determined based on your own accepted identity of self, your own personal belief systems regarding the mind body connection. But what we understand is our audiences are very tied into the connection between mind and body. And this is the context in which we have created today's show. What may surprise our listeners at home is to learn how the body can be used as a tool to find out if your mind is lying to you. So I want you to really take in that statement. Think about the implications of realizing that you hold all the answers to your questions and they're inside of you. All you need to do is get really good at decoding your body language and test your beliefs against the knowledge in your body. Muscle testing can be used to find out if the food you're eating is healthy for your body or not, if you are in the right relationship, if you're in the right job for living out your true potential and life purpose, if your beliefs about money are causing you to make financial decisions that negatively impact your bank account, which means you can also use muscle testing to find out your limiting beliefs, your blind spots, and your fears. And yes, you guessed it, whether the goals you have set for yourself are actually achievable. This understanding unleashes a whole new level of power to moving beyond yourself and your own human experiences so far. And some of you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Wait a minute. Do you mean if I have a thought that I'm not clear on whether it's true for me or not, I can actually ask my body and get an honest answer?
In a word, yes. In two words, it's complicated.
I just wanted to be sure. This week's show provides an introduction to muscle testing so you can decide if it's something you want to explore further. Today, we're going to share the power of muscle testing in a real life case study. We're also pointing you towards online resources which can help you learn this technique so you can decide for yourself if you desire help to apply it. The cool thing is that when you master muscle testing, your world can change in an instant. And today is the 28th of January, which in some circles is also known as the Day of Miracles. So it's time we got started to help you understand just how powerful you are, because who knows, today might just be your Day of Miracles.
Muscle testing or applied kinesiology can help you to uncover deeply held beliefs which block you from moving forward. We are not going to teach you muscle testing, but explain the power of muscle testing and give you examples of how you can use it in your everyday life. In fact, we spoke to several practitioners prior to creating this show, and we are still perfecting our own muscle testing techniques. As a result, we are recommending you look up the resources and consult the practitioners that you are comfortable with using to develop your own muscle testing practices. We know for ourselves this practice is hands down life changing. And to get the intended results, it is important to practice it correctly so you can uncover the truths of your life through your own body reactions. To understand the concept of muscle testing, it's helpful to remember you are energy, and the planet we live on is made of energy. In our human bodies, we all carry an electromagnetic field, which means each of us has a frequency. In fact, everything on the planet has a frequency. Joy is a frequency, fear is a frequency. Love is a frequency. Even diseases carry their own frequency. And if you use knowledge of your electromagnetic field, you can learn more about yourself through your body's reactions than you can uncover through your own conscious thoughts. This is because if something is good for you, your muscles will test with a strong response. And if something is not good for you, your muscles will test with a weak response. For example, let's say you make the statement, "It is light outside now." When you learn how to test your statement with your own body, depending on which form of muscle testing you are using, but let's just say that we're using the sway technique, and this includes our torso, the direction your body sways will either confirm or deny the statement, "It is light outside." Now, think about if you could uncover your blind spots and your fears and deeply held beliefs by learning how to properly phrase a statement and test it. You could have literally unlimited breakthroughs because there are lots of situations that come up in muscle testing with techniques and ways that people can still trick their brains. We recommend developing your own practices. The importance of this strong testing and weak testing is that when it's done correctly, it can, for the individual, pinpoint exactly what are the issues that are coming up for them. Each of us has unique problems that affect us in such profound ways. It's incredible to think about how powerfully you can move your life forward if you could uncover your own hidden issues.
It's amazing to think about how people have changed their lives so profoundly by simply using muscle testing to pinpoint their own struggles. Do you have some examples that we can provide our listeners with?
Muscle testing is valuable because it shows us the connection between what is happening in our physical existence, which means how is this manifesting in our life, and its relationship to our subconscious beliefs. For example, you could make statements to test, "My name is Mandy," as a true or false. "It is daylight outside." "I am happy in my relationship." "I am doing a job which is right for me." "I am worried about getting fired." "I am capable of completing my daily tasks on time." Now, it may be hard to see at first glance how this practice could transform your life. The first two statements are true, false, and easy to confirm. So they're always helpful to include when you're doing your muscle testing and to use them as a calibration. But let's take the last statement. "I am capable of completing my tasks on time daily." Because there are millions, literally millions of people in the world that cannot complete their tasks on time or as written, regardless of how many times they change it on the calendar. It can be both frustrating and debilitating to live like this. And for every single person out there, the reasons for why this is true will be different. This is where having your own muscle testing practice can literally transform your world. Let's take a look at my client who is struggling with completing his daily tasks on time. My client, let's call him Robert, is a self-employed man with difficulties adhering to a daily time management schedule. No matter how hard he tried, he never managed to complete tasks within the time that he had allocated to each task. As a result, his work time bled into his social time, his recreational time, and his downtime. The irony was that he was great at his job. His clients loved him, and because he always got his assignments in on time and was punctual for meetings, he was successful. But this success was at the expense of his health, his fitness, and his well-being. He awoke very early and worked very late, and often skipped family meals and social engagements with friends, and he allowed his exercise regime to slip. Robert was confident and determined that he could keep a schedule if he just wrote everything down and followed the task list. Yet, day after day after day, he failed to keep his time commitments. It did not matter. if he shortened the time durations, rearranged the tasks, gave himself more downtime, color coded his task sheet, on and on and on. It became clear he was completely incapable of being able to meet his regimented time commitments. In fact, he had tried to freeform his schedules, to try life with no schedule and with regimented schedules. His problem was serious and he needed help. His relationships were so strained that he was becoming depressed and thinking he needed to change his job because of the stress that had to do with his time commitments or falling short of meeting his time commitments. Based on all of these trial and error issues, I knew we needed a serious breakthrough. As Robert already had knowledge of muscle testing, we agreed that he would try an exercise. He agreed that we would try using the muscle testing technique to design for him the optimum schedule. This process took a number of iterations, and at 8 a.m. each day, my client muscle tested his subconscious mind's commitment to the new 9-hour schedule that we had devised for him. And to test this, he printed it out, held it to his solar plexus while standing up with his legs and shoulders width apart, using the technique to face north, and checked how his body responded to the statement, "I am going to adhere to this schedule today." Consistently, his body swayed backwards, which indicates that he wasn't going to be able to adhere to his schedule. And sure enough, by 5 p.m., he was still at his desk working to complete his tasks. Clearly, deeper issues were behind this patterned behavior, which had been driven by his subconscious mind. The muscle testing provided the information we required to understand that no matter what Robert did, he would not be able to successfully complete and keep a time schedule. This had been the story of his life for more than 4 decades. No changes of habits was going to fix this problem, and no amount of counseling. So at this point, I asked him a simple question. Robert, what do you think is causing this issue? We were sitting in the same room, and I could see his eyes well up with tears. From my years of experience with clients, I knew I had hit on exactly the right question to the problem. In the next instant, as he recounted his story to me, I saw the scales fall from his eyes. His body posture straightened, and the lines on his face almost seemed to disappear. It was as if a lifetime of burden had been lifted off of his body. It turns out that Robert's behavior was driven by fear because his subconscious mind associated time management schedules with traumatic events experienced in early childhood. At a young age, he had been sent away from home to be educated at a boarding school. Here, his days were structured according to strict daily schedules, and students were punished if they deviated from these schedules. Because he was very young, 7 years old, when he first started at the school, the entire concept of disciplined time management was an alien concept to him, and he was frequently punished as a result. This was the source of fear, which his body rebelled against every time he sat down to complete a task on his daily list. In less than 45 minutes of conversation, Robert undid 47 years of patterned behavior, and he transformed in front of my eyes. The point here is that my client experienced a huge breakthrough in his life in an instant. He did not require years of therapy to solve his problem. He required use of a technique to point him to the deeply held subconscious belief that was holding him back.
Wow. It's amazing to think about how your client's life changed so profoundly when they understood how their subconscious mind was railing against their rational thinking mind. Mandy, I love this example because you explain how muscle testing was used in conjunction with other techniques to improve Robert's life. You helped him break through by unpacking a debilitating pattern of behavior which was associated with his deeply held fears.
It's true. Robert's story is such a huge success because it literally transformed his life in an instant. The next morning and all the mornings to follow, inexplicably, Robert joyfully faces his day because he is no longer afraid of the schedules he creates, and thus he keeps his schedules. This case study is a wonderful, yet not rare example of how we can use muscle testing to uncover our own subconscious beliefs holding us back. In truth, very self-aware people could ask themselves the same question that I asked Robert. Because once they identify the behavior holding them back, they can look for the reason. It took Robert less than 30 seconds to give me the reason. The subconscious mind was giving Robert clues every day in the form of not being able to meet his structured schedules. But his rational mind could not work out why he was having problems. There are a few important points here. One, listeners at home can use muscle testing for simple questions in their life, like eating apricots is good for me. Keeping in mind, this could change from day to day. Or they could take it beyond to the point that Robert did. Muscle testing is a powerful tool, and it's up to you how you would like to use it. Secondly, it's worth noting that muscle testing is not accepted as a therapy in Western medicine circles, and therefore we cannot recommend this as a therapy to replace your current medical care. If you have a physical or mental illness, please follow your own best judgment as well as your practitioner advice for treatment. Finally, using your muscles, we can find what events or emotions weaken or strengthen your body. It's simply a really cool way we can ask your body questions and get clear answers, like a telephone to the subconscious mind. Individuals can apply this understanding to help identify the blind spots which prevent them from living fearlessly. It's hard to be resilient if your subconscious mind is out of alignment with your consciously held beliefs. Situations like Robert's prevent you from moving forward confidently because your brain is receiving two sets of instructions that are in direct conflict to one another. So this week's challenge for everyone listening at home is one, write down 5 areas of your life that you think muscle testing might be able to help you. 2, follow the resources made available in the companion workbook or do your own research to learn muscle testing for yourself. You can hire a practitioner or get coached by one to teach you muscle testing. Keep in mind, developing a very good technique is the key to this practice. 3, apply your newfound knowledge to practice muscle testing, remembering the importance of phrasing statements in the correct way and using calibration questions like, my name is, and it's currently daylight where I live. And 4, based on what you've learned today, are there new goals you would like to add to your 2021 list?
Mandy, thank you for that call to action challenge. For our listeners at home, we are not experts in this field, and so that's why we have provided online resources which can help you learn the very powerful muscle testing technique we've been discussing in this show. Okay, so now it's the end of January, and we've come to the close of our 5-part series on setting goals that you can actually achieve. We hope you've enjoyed listening in and have found the workbooks to be a valuable resource. Now you are in the amazing position of being able to review the list of goals which you made at the start of this month with full awareness of your fears, resilience, belief systems, blind spots, and the perspective of your subconscious mind. So equipped with this new knowledge, I wonder how you might choose to modify your list. Maybe you now recognize some of your original goals to be untenable. Perhaps you have been inspired by alternatives, which have now become priority aspirations. Whatever your experience, we're sure that you will have set your sights on objectives that you can actually achieve. This is important because setting and achieving our goals is how we maintain control over our lives. And believe it or not, it provides great reassurance in times of uncertainty. After all, setting goals is all about defining the life that we want for ourselves, turning our dreams and aspirations into reality. And on that note, we want to thank Passionate World Talk Radio for providing a platform on their internet radio station for our show, Finding Your Holy Grail. For more information, please go to www.passionateworldtalkradio.com. To subscribe to our community, go to findingyourholygrail.com. And please write to us at findingyourholygrail@gmail.com.
Until next week, for all of our listeners at home, keep well and stay brave. And remember, all of these techniques require practice. To help you out, we have provided a companion workbook with these exercises that you can download and fill in for yourself. Completing these exercises is a priceless investment in yourself and paving your path on this journey within to succeed in ways you could never have imagined. Dig into your courage. Set aside 15 minutes and really find out how to make your life into that beautiful dream you have kept in your heart. It's time to unleash it. We are rooting for you and looking forward to hearing what you create.